Welcome to Healing Highs with Laura, where we talk about the highlights and serendipitous moments of our healing journeys. I'm your host, Laura, an international energy healer for animals and humans. Thank you for being here. I love sharing these stories with you. Welcome to Healing Highs with Laura, where we talk about the highlights and serendipitous moments of our healing journeys. I'm Laura. Thank you for being here. We are back, or season 2 of our podcast. I'm so excited that we're here. If you are watching the video, you can see that things look very different. Our plan moving forward is to have some similar episodes to last season, but some new ideas. And so this is one of them, is to be mobile and outside in nature. So I'm excited about all the possibilities of what that looks like and you joining us for that. And kind of talking about last year, we had 21 episodes. It was really incredible. All the things that we were able to do, all the guests that we had. And over that time, you can look at the data and see what you're doing and things like that. But at the end of the season, Spotify does this thing called Spotify Wrapped, and it does it for creators too. And it gives you your data, which we knew about. But one of the things that it said that was so exciting was that it said for video podcasts, ours was in the top 15%. So that was really exciting. It's on, our podcast is a video on Spotify, and then we uploaded a lot of things at the end of the year to YouTube. So now everything's on YouTube. I think iHeart and Amazon, it's just audio. But that was a really cool ranking. So I wanted to share that with you all. Thank you for helping us do that. As we are starting this new season, I was thinking also how I want things to be different in terms of chatting with you and sharing things in the solo podcast, as well as the guests. And kind of transparently, in the beginning of all of this, there would just be so much happening in terms of a camera and the microphone and a guest, or even just being by myself. And when I would go to talk, I just would completely black out. I wouldn't even know what I was saying, and I would have to stop halfway through and say, what am I saying? So, I had the computer in front of me to really, as a crutch, just to help me with that. And then as the episodes were going along and I was feeling less and less like I needed it, at that point it was, oh, well, now it's part of the whole thing, and for continuity's sake, I'm going to keep it. And now here we are fresh, we're starting over. And so I really want to move into this season just chatting with you and having, an outline in my mind of things I want to talk about, but being able to have it be more of a conversation, which it was, but just a little bit more of that. So if you're watching on the video, you can see that there is no computer and I don't have anything in terms of that. And we're outside, we're at the beach. And I don't know if you can hear the waves in the background because they're a little bit far. But with this being the start, I got this feeling like, oh, I know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to bless the space. And blessing the space of the podcast for what we want it to look like moving forward also allows us to talk about blessing a space, right? And what that looks like, and some experiences I've had doing that. So at the end of the podcast, I do want to take us through blessing a space, where you could take that and bless any space, but I will be blessing our podcast space. And blessing a space, you can bless a house, an office. I've had the honor to bless doctors' offices, courtrooms, land, properties, so many unique and common places, whether it was in person or remote. And there's so many ways to bless space, right? Like, you could use salt on the perimeters as a protection, and a clearing. You could use candles. You could burn cedar or frankincense. You can use crystals, right? There's so many, I'm trying to think. Oh, you could use music, right? Sound healing, play a bell or a bowl. We used to use a radio with like high vibrational songs in this little room where one of our animals would be, because they were towards the end of their time, and we would just want to surround them with that positive energy. So you can do that in your house when you're not there. You can play those really positive songs or music, kind of sound healing type things as well. So you can really use so many things, and it really depends for you what makes sense for you and what you gravitate towards. So definitely do your research on like what those things mean, because like we said with salt, it's more of a purification, a cleansing, as well as a protection. But then something like cinnamon is going to help call in abundance. So you want to see like what it is that your intention is, and kind of moving through that, having the things that you like to do for your space. I have also been able to help people bless like a classroom or a school. And that's very different, than your home and what you're trying to create there and the intention. And then also the space itself, right? Like the space itself, maybe you don't use salt in your cleansing and blessing of your space, but this place that you're at does want salt, so kind of merging like your usual things with what the property or the space is calling in. A long time ago, I don't know, I can't even think of how long ago, I moved into a place where my neighbor, literally as I put the key in the door, came just like barreling towards me. She lived below. I hadn't even been there yet, and was just like yelling at me and saying I was being noisy. And I wasn't. It turned out it was another neighbor, and I let her know that, and I hoped that would clear things up, and it didn't. And what ended up happening was, for quite a long period of time in the first few months of me living there, it felt like a portal was beneath me, and I was having to clear and bless my space once a week with lots of things, or something would happen. And typically you might like bless your space, you just do it intuitively, if someone is coming in, or you had a party, or when you clean, or you do it once a week, but it's not like a must, right? Unless it's like a ritual for you. And this was an absolute must. If I went beyond 7 days of doing this list of things, something would happen in my house. And I at the time, this was before I did like belief work and energy work in this way. So I was using these rituals of salt and burning, herbs or sage, things like that. And so I had a list of things I would do every week, and it was like burning sage or something like that, and then putting salt, and then I had holy water from the Vatican. I had a few opportunities to be in the Vatican or in St. Peter's, where you can like see the Pope speak, and then there's like a small room that you can also get tickets to where like you can hear the Pope speak, and so I had gotten holy water from one of those times, and I would use that, and like they say with that, like bless the windows or the doors. I mean, I would like just put that stuff in my hand and like throw it in the room, just all the spaces to be blessed and cleared and held. And a couple things that happened where I missed a day or a few days was I had an old electric stove that had the coils, and I was boiling water, and I looked, or I was boiling something, and I looked in the pot to see, how I was doing, whatever. And then I backed up, and I took like one step back, and I turned to talk to another person in the kitchen with me. And as I turned, the coil under the pot exploded. And it was like a firework went off in my kitchen. It was insane. Like I'd never seen that before, experienced that. And, obviously we had to handle that. And I knew immediately, I was like, oh, I haven't cleared the space. And the energy beneath us was so, it's like, if you want to talk about like, is there dark and light energy, heavy energy, whatever it was, it just wasn't an energy I wanted to be a part of. And it just felt like it would creep in if I didn't do my strong rituals and say my certain things. And so then another time, a month would maybe go by or something, and then I missed a few days. And this one outlet was kind of not working, and I used to always plug my computer into it, and I thought, I'm not going to plug my computer into this outlet. It's kind of being funny. And then I had an electrician come out and they measured it, and it was just beyond. They were like, this is so dangerous. It's so high in voltage or whatever it is. And they were like, this is dangerous. And it could have blown out my computer. It could have started a fire, so many things. And if you look at that kind of energy when someone is around you that's in those dark, or whatever you want to call it, spaces, it is oftentimes these really strong electrical fire kind of energies. And some other things happened that were really intense around that. And so I was really kept strict to my rituals as I was trying to navigate how to live near this. And after a while, I started to realize, and this is probably over months, it's not like it was years, but I started to realize I'm very much on the defense here, right? I'm trying to keep it back. And again, this was before I really knew a lot of what I would do now would be quite different. And so what I had at the time was gratitude. And I thought, okay, I don't like being on the defense of this. What I'm going to do is try to create a new reality through gratitude. And so I'm going to be, every morning I'll make a list of things I'm grateful for, but I'm going to start being grateful for things as if I have them now in terms of my neighbor. And so I started writing things like, I'm so grateful I have kind and thoughtful neighbors. I'm so grateful I have quiet neighbors, respectful neighbors, neighbors who are positive and loving. And I just kept doing that every day in different forms and different versions. And after some period of time, I remember I was at my old job and I got a message from my neighbor who lived right next door to this person and also was experiencing a lot of what I was experiencing. And her message was she's gone. And I was, what? I mean, I knew immediately what she was talking about. And so later when I had the chance to call her before I could get home, she said, I saw her moving all her stuff out. And the complicated aspect of this is she still would come around because her family lived there and they were lovely, but she wasn't there day to day. And it was much less that she came around, very significantly less. And so it really was such a oh my gosh, a really breath, oh my gosh, finally, this has moved on. We don't have to deal with this anymore in this day to day, trying to hold our boundaries so strong energetically. And so I liked that because it is a great example of, before I knew the other possibilities of things that we can do, I was using these rituals to protect our space and bless our space, and then using gratitude to manifest and create a different reality for myself, and it worked. And so, yeah, it's just, I'm sure we've all kind of experienced something like that, where these things we know have power, and it's really validated in the ways that we feel when we walk in a room that's been blessed and cleared and holds a good energy. So with that, I was thinking we could bless this space. I'll take you through a blessing of the space, but I'm going to keep it pretty general so that if you want to use this for your home or your office, you can do that. And another thing to note is you can bless anything, right? You can bless your Instagram page if it's a business page, or you can bless your website, you can bless your car, all these things. You can do anything. So keep that in mind, calling in what you want for the different spaces that you navigate as we do this. All right, so if you want to join me, please close your eyes and just tune into your breath. And always connecting with your heart. Moving through an energy of love. Call to your mind the space that you want to clear. And ask for any old or stagnant, negative, however you want to term it, energy be released, sent into the light. and just feel or see or hear a shift. And then really sit with what you want that space to hold. Do you want it to hold joy, love, safety, community, connection, integrity, playfulness, healing, whatever it is? Think of the things that you want it to feel like and call those things into that space. And again, just feeling the shift of those things coming in. Watching that or feeling that shift. Asking for protection and safety for all of those that enter that space, and that they enter it with love. And giving gratitude for this shift. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So if you joined us in season 1, you know we always ask the void a question at the end of the episode. So the void, I have a question for you. Do you have a birthday?
Yes.
What do you like to, I guess, have on your birthday? You know, like we would have cake. What do you like to have?
Pizza.
Some people would say that you are an energy of little words, and I agree. But the energy is there. The energy is big. Pizza on your birthday. That's good. I like pizza. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm so excited to move through this season 2 with you. I know it's going to bring us to some really beautiful spaces, and I really wish you joy and serendipity on your healing journey, and I know our paths will cross again.